The official injury report will come down later this afternoon, but during the media viewing portion of practice today for the Bills, our own Sal Capaccio reported all but Christian Benford, Shaq Thompson, and A.J. Epinesa were present, while down in Miami, Chop Robinson and Rasul Douglas again do not practice. And do stay tuned. Sal's going to join the show at 5 p.m. Week 10 is going to get started tonight with Thursday Night Football. Denver does host the Raiders. Kickoff at 8:15 over on Amazon Prime. You can't listen to that game over, though, on our sister station, the Bet 1520, with coverage starting at 7:30. And then tragic news down in Dallas. Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland died this morning from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound, according to local law authorities. Kneeland was 24 years old. Sabres game night tonight, pregame at 6, a 7 p.m. puck drop. Sabres do host St. Louis. Tyson Kozak looks to return to the lineup, and then all signs point to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen getting the start in net. And then one big note for St. Louis, it does appear forward Jordan Kyrou is going to be a healthy scratch. We also have 8 other games in the NHL tonight. Some of the notables include Bruins hosting Ottawa, and the Devils have Montreal in town. Both those are going to get going also at 7. Then 2 games at 10 to wrap up your evening. Panthers at LA and Tampa at Las Vegas. While in college hoops, Canisius men host Allegheny just after 7 p.m. And Sports Talk on WGR is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL games live every Sunday all season long and visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't think Michael's ever done drugs.
It's Mike Schopp.
I don't know if anyone's ever offered him any.
Let's go over some of the symptoms of marijuana use, shall we? You tell me who this sounds like.
It's the Bulldog.
Slow moving, inattentive, dull, constantly snacking, shows a lack of motivation.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Just a couple of guys in middle age, you're welcome,
Yeah, I really do appreciate that.
talking about streaming services
Yeah,
and how to juggle
really
through
do,
life.
Really do appreciate that.
Tonight is Amazon Prime, by the way, which I have because my wife has it.
Same.
We do get the Amazon trucks. I don't know that I buy one thing, actually, from Amazon every year. It's the same thing, the baseball prospectus.
Okay.
Because you can pre-order it,
Mm-hmm.
and the Barnes & Noble website, for me, it's like, oh, you got to find, it's in. And then you go and you look for the nearest location, and there isn't one. In Utah, there might be a store that has, so just, all right, fine, I'll order it. But I don't know that I've ever bought anything else from Amazon. Then I go to the supermarket nearby that is affiliated with Amazon. I like that store. There's some stuff there I can't get at my store.
All right.
And then, you get up there, and I don't get the discount.
Right, because you don't know the...
No.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to scan or do anything there. So.
When I use it, I've used it intermittent. I'm not a regular, but 3-4 times a year maybe. My wife is like, I don't know, that the Amazon drivers, I think, like, probably know, they know my dog's name probably.
Oh.
But I now sort of live with the idea that I'm just going to use her account rather than, because every time I would order something, it'd be like, free shipping if you sign up for Prime. And I would do that and then cancel it.
Okay.
Because we already have Prime. My wife has Prime, so I don't need to, But now
I don't have the energy.
That means that, like, if a confirmation has to go out, that it's going to, like, her phone or her email, and it sort of trips me up and I get stuck. That's really the main reason I don't use it as often as maybe she does.
I want to say I admire those of you that sign up for something and then remember to cancel it like the next day, but I really don't admire that. I think that that's kind of cheap. Just, do you want this or not?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we already have the Amazon Prime account Like, my wife has it, so I don't really have it. The only reason I'm going to sign up for it is to get the free shipping on this thing I just ordered.
I know, yeah.
So it is definitely being cheap, but, like, I don't want to have 2 of those accounts. I mean, even if it's free for 30 days or whatever they're offering at the moment.
You shouldn't want to have 2 of those accounts, and you shouldn't admire me either, because what I do is sign up all righteous, not going to cancel it immediately because I'm trying to scam them or whatever you'd call that, but I also will never remember to cancel it ever.
Right.
And now I end up with this many subscriptions to things, to car washes and things that I just never use.
You need to get out from under that stuff.
It's bad. It's bad.
It is.
I'm dying from it. Amazon Prime, though, I will be watching tonight. I never miss a play on the Thursday night games. Who do we want tonight?
Well, I think we want the Raiders. That's not hard at all.
Really? Okay.
Right? I mean, is there some question about that? I mean, Denver's 7-2, right?
The argument for Denver would be an argument against Kansas City.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
You'd be trying to stick the Chiefs in the wild card round. 2.5 games behind if Denver wins tonight as a 9-point favorite.
I guess I would have to admit to not being as worried about where Kansas City ends up. Unless I can keep them out entirely, that might be pretty tempting, and this could help toward that too, of course. But mostly, I'm about catching the 2 teams that are in front of the Bills right now. Or is it 2? Yeah, it's 2, 3 teams. So I think I'd rather see Denver get dinged and let Kansas City be whatever Kansas City's going to be. For now,
is it not close though?
Yeah, a little. But to me, the 1 seed beats the living daylights out of Kansas City's a wild card, or they win their division and they're a 3 or the 2, whatever they would be. I think having the 1, getting the week off, like that, and Denver losing does not guarantee that, but it's a piece of it here. And I think for me, I don't think it's particularly close. I think I'll root for the I think it's going to be futile. I mean, I don't think, what are they, 9 points, 8.5?
9.
I mean, I don't like the Raiders' chances a whole lot, but I think I'll be pulling for them.
I just think, you tell me if you disagree with this. To me, the Broncos and the Patriots are the same.
All right, sorry.
They're kind of just the same.
Jump the gun.
I hope you did. I hope you actually do disagree with this.
I'm eager.
The conversation will last longer and be more interesting. Denver, pretty good. New England, pretty good. Is Denver better than New England for you?
The thing about these 2 teams that I think is different is that I think Denver's team is further along than New England's team. But the quarterbacks are not equals. I think May is better. I might even want to go much better. I feel like Nick's has his moments, but I think he's ultimately just a guy running Sean Payton's offense mostly. Whereas I think Drake May has the ability, I think, to potentially be on the tier that Josh Allen lives on. I think he's that good. I think the athleticism is there, the intangibles, all the stuff, like getting guys to ride with him. I just think there's a lot there. Whereas Nick's, I just don't think he's not an elevator. I think he's a facilitator, and that's good. I mean, that worked well enough, and they've got, to get to the playoffs last year. They've got a 7-2 record this year. I mean, it's by the skin of their teeth a lot of times. I mean, they've been losing in many of these games at some point or another, and they just find a way. And, credit, great. But I don't believe in him to the level I believe. I don't fear him at the level I would say I fear Drake May already.
They also barely lost to the Colts.
Right.
I mean, that's one that went the other way for them, right?
Yep. That's
Sorry
right.
to jump in.
No, that's right. That's right. And at the time, it was like, someone please beat Indianapolis, but here they are both with the same record. So, I don't know how much of a difference ultimately it really made. They'd be 8-1 if they had gotten that game. That was the field goal penalty game, right?
Right. I think week 2.
I get the comp. I don't think either team is a Super Bowl caliber team right now, but it's fun. They're in opposite places to me. I think Denver's got a really nice roster mostly. Not that they don't have holes. They're not a perfect, some kind of super team or anything, but I like their team better than I like New England's, but the quarterback sort of levels it. So I think they are ultimately pretty comparable.
Whose coach would you rather have?
I think I would rather have Vrabel.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the point about Nix. I said the other day I think Nix is Doug Flutie. I'm not off that position. It's not going to be perfect, but kind of older, been on a lot of teams, runs, doesn't have any stats, but wins.
Been on a lot of college teams.
College teams, USFL teams, Canadian teams. Just, I mean, first-round pick, although maybe Doug was a first-round pick by the Bears. Maybe? Anyway, not to belabor that, but I think Nix becomes a quarterback that we put in the category of guys where people will argue all the time about whether he's actually good.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got the right coach, and he's got a good team. So they're winning. I don't think he's bad, but no, I don't think he's May.
No, I don't think he's even close to me.
So
to me, his ceiling to me is a middle of the pack quarterback. Like if he's ever in the top half, that would be. I think that's his ceiling.
But it is. He might be good enough for his team with him, good enough that I wouldn't rule out Denver winning a championship with him. I wouldn't rule it out. Like, it's maybe Baltimore Flacco level, like good enough to not rule out as a possibility.
Yeah. Well, sure. Anybody that can. I mean, I was saying a couple weeks ago, it was against Dallas. Like, I liked a lot of the throws he made against them, and again, it was against Dallas, but not like guys were running naked, wide open. He put some balls downfield right where they needed to be in that game, and so sure. I mean, if you're good enough, your team is good enough, and you're good enough to guide them to a 12-win season. You could get that is Flacco. You could get hot in the. I don't know if they won 12 games that year, but you get hot in the playoffs, make a couple of big throws, get some luck on your side, and funny enough, maybe the luckiest play of that run for Flacco was against Denver in Denver. But yeah, I mean you've got to look at it. I think it's one of these teams that everyone's going to always focus on the defense and how good the defense is, and we heard a lot of that last January when they were coming in here to play the Bills, and the Bills put 30 on them. But they still have. Doesn't mean they don't have good. They've got good personnel, maybe even some great personnel over there. So yeah, but
you want to see them win 24-23?
No, right?
Or lose 24. I guess 24-20. Like the Patriots just won by that score.
I think they could do it, but it will be with a quarterback that to me is not on the Mahomes, Allen, Lamar Jackson tier ever. Really,
I just think about tonight, like. Denver still has to play Kansas City twice. They have Green Bay, if you want it. That's kind of it, I guess. They are in good shape.
Chargers again, still?
Chargers in Week 18.
Okay.
Which could be important or not. That's right, though. I think either way, like if they win tonight, they're still going to have to at least split with the Chiefs and kind of keep up their pace to be a rival for the one. I'll put it that way, to be like in play. How many losses does the 1 seed end up with? 4?
No more than 4.
No more than 4. Patriots, Bills, Colts, Broncos at 2.
I think one of those teams will only lose 2 more games.
And get there.
Yeah.
And the Bills are the betting favorite for it. What was it, yesterday or the day before? I said at one point, with all there's been a lot of anxiety on the airwaves here over the last little while. This week, the trade deadline, nothing happened. So, I mean, a lot of fans are annoyed by that, to put it mildly. I said something like, I think I did, if you had this exact standings before the season started, would you take it? Would you have taken it before the season started? And maybe you would say no. Because of New England? you don't get to see anything. You don't know any of the, the injuries necessarily or anything like that. But you just sort of close your eyes before the season started, and you open them, and the standings look exactly like this. How would you feel?
I definitely don't think I would feel bad. I would probably be surprised that New England has one more win than I have. But I think 6-2 through 8 games, without accounting for where the losses came, like the fact that they lost to the Patriots and lost to Atlanta in back-to-back weeks, like we know that now. We watch these games. 6-2, I'd be all right with that record. I think if we talk, I'm sure we did at some point when the schedule came out or over the course of the summer before the season ramped up, breaking the schedule down into different quadrants or whatever. And, what's your record after this? Would you take that? I feel like 6-2 is it's not, maybe not great, but I'd be okay. You're there. You're on track to have the kind of season you've been having. And now, the trick with that phrasing is that we're looking for them to have just a slightly better season than they've been having, right? That means one fewer loss maybe, or just, come out on top. Everybody else loses one more than you, and you get the 1 seed. But 6-2 is I'm not upset about their record, to say the least. I'm not thrilled because, the games they lost were – their offense just was relatively inept, especially in the Atlanta game, and it really cost you. That's a game where you gave up 24 points and lost by 10. Like the Buffalo Bills of this era, wow, But
that is everybody.
Right.
Everybody in the league this year has at least one game like that. As good as you might think you are, you've got that. The Packers losing to the Browns and the Panthers, Philadelphia has that. Kansas City, of course. Baltimore, of course. Detroit now. No matter how good you think you are, you just sort of, take a swig and you're like, well, that's the NFL for you. Just the randomness of it and trying to figure out the Falcons game with the Falcons losing to Carolina like they did, and then the Bills trounce Carolina and New England, barely beats Atlanta. Just you can drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
But Denver getting to 8-2 is likely tonight. Favored by 9. I think they're the Patriots in the sense that I don't want to give 9 points tonight. Like, I just think, like I've said about New England many times, and I think you have too. And Sal, I remember Sal talking about it with us. They're good, but they're just not going to beat everybody.
Right. Well, last week I took the Falcons and the 5.5 and said, really? You get almost a touchdown? You're the Patriots. Like, what? You're that good now?
That was right.
And too bad Atlanta couldn't find a way to get one more field goal or something.
They cut the kicker.
Yeah, the guy that missed the.
They're doing a lot of that this year, the Falcons. You miss a field goal for the Falcons, you're out.
Yeah.
Remember the game they lost to Tampa, right? Week 1, and they waived the kicker?
Right.
Was it week 1? Yeah. And now this happened again, so they're on Zane Gonzalez.
And that guy they cut after week 1 had been there a while.
Koo.
Yeah, right.
Younghoe Koo.
Yeah. Did he surface anywhere? I haven't seen him.
Not that I know of. You're looking to pick somebody up?
No, I think I'm all right at kicker. I need quarterbacks.
I just think that's worse, probably.
Great place to be.
The point about the standings and how it looks, I think is a good one to keep in mind if you're losing your mind about the deadline or injuries or something else about the Bills. Brandon Beane never failing to blame fantasy football for his lack of movement or whatever it is that he's blaming it on. You can kind of go crazy here. We had a caller maybe Tuesday, and I said to him, I think we sound like we're going mad. And I think it's partly because we're so on edge about all this. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's a horse race almost this season where, you watch a horse race and you're the favorite, right? Going into the race, or you're one of the two favorites. And it's halfway through the race, and you're sort of right there as they're coming around that last turn, and you feel like, I got it. Or maybe I haven't got it, but I'm not dead.
right there. Right.
I'm right there.
Right.
And if I am the best horse,
then I will
win this race.
Right.
That's, I think, a little bit how the Bills season feels to me, I would say. Well, I'm happy with myself that I was able to focus on all that because it is National Nachos Day.
Oh, boy. Really?
It is. You know, Google does that thing where there's like an icon there on your search bar, search engine, and there's nachos.
Is that how you find out it's National whatever
No,
it is day? Because I don't feel like that is something I almost ever know.
This is the second. Don't brag. You're saying that to brag. No, this is the second time today I've learned that it's National Nachos Day. The first time was when I opened my browser from asleep. It will sometimes in one of the little boxes at the bottom it'll say it's National whatever Day, and I do want to know because of this right here.
It's good. It's what do they call this? Fodder?
Content. Sabres and Blues tonight, pregame at 6. Paul Hamilton will join us. How about that goalie? How long do you want to go on the goalie, like trying to steal that puck?
We're talking about Binnington here?
Yeah.
I mean...
You see what he said?
Yeah. I gave it away, so I thought I deserved an assist or something along those lines, and of course I was going to give it back to him.
Oh, full intention.
Yeah.
So bad.
He is an all-time, I don't know how many Sabres fans are really aware of what an all-time jerk this guy is.
I didn't know anything like that until last night.
He might be, I'd have to go look at The Athletic or Sportsnet or some outlet that covers hockey aggressively, player polls, like least popular players. I'll bet he's someone who rates
How come?
He always wants to fight.
Oh.
He's got a really, really bad temper. And he takes cheap, he's Billy Smith.
Wow.
He's a modern day Billy Smith, is what Jordan Binnington is. And so he's already accrued this, awful, sort of nasty reputation.
I didn't know that.
I sound like I'm talking like a school teacher here. I don't want to use the kind of language I would use if we were talking at a bar about this guy. But he's kind of got a screw loose. But he's Binner the winner. I mean, he was great in the Four Nations face-off for Canada. They won the thing, and he was great.
Did he steal anything?
I don't know that he stole anything. He was the story of their Stanley Cup season. He showed up after he was loaned to another organization by the Blues. They didn't have room for him in the ECHL. They got go play for Boston's farm team because we don't have anywhere to put you. And then months later, he's the starting goalie of the Blues, and they win the Cup.
Game 7 on the road.
I mean, he is a big game player, but he is a whack job.
So he's not playing tonight, or is he?
No, he's not playing tonight.
Not a big game.
Not a big game.
Or else anything he could take from the
apparently
arena?
Apparently none of their games this year have been big games because his numbers are brutal. And the guy who's playing tonight, his numbers are worse. You can bet if the Sabres decided to waive Colton Ellis, the Blues would be like, okay, we'll take that back right now. Because both of their guys are cruising at like an .850 save percentage. They are awful.
Can you trade him to the Blues? Sort of meet in the middle? He's not helping us.
Hey, can you give us something for this guy? You need him back?
There was never any path where he was going to matter to the Sabres, and that's been right so far, unless there's an injury. So Luukkonen tonight, 6 o'clock pregame. Paul Hamilton will join. Zach Benson sounds like he'll miss more time. We'll get into all of it with Paul. Also today, Sal Capaccio at 5. And next, Joe Ostrowski. Are the Chicago Bears a playoff team? What do you think he'll say?
He's going to hang up on us.
Well, I mean, is it that bad a question? I mean, hopefully he doesn't do that. If you really think that, I won't ask it.
I want him to hang up on us.
No,
I don't.
National Nachos Day. All right, Joe Ostrowski, Bet Sweats when we return. Sabres and Blues tonight, pregame at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for being with us. This is WGR.
more time you spend around each other, and obviously, the reps out on the football field are important. I think we're just trying to see the field the same way, and it's working a little bit.
Dalton Kincaid off a big stat line in the Bills' win over Kansas City. Buffalo at Miami, Sunday at 1. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for listening. Always a treat to welcome Joe Ostrowski to the show on the Western Hotline, Odyssey Sports Betting Insider. Catch Joe with Sam Panayotovich weekday mornings 9 to noon on Bet Sweats on the Bet MGM network. Joe, how are you?
Doug Flutie, not a first-round pick, an 11th-round pick.
Oh, I was right there. The one.
By the
but there's
Rams.
another by the Rams.
Rams, 85. Yeah, they ended up trading his rights to the Bears eventually.
Oh, okay. So here, I want to say a couple things.
The first thing that comes to mind for me is that I remember reading about, I don't remember this from, I was 20 years old for the 85 draft, but I remember there being stories years later about how people wanted the Bills to take him and not Bruce Smith. And he got drafted in the 11th round?
We had bumper stickers.
The 11th round? There's not even 11 rounds in the draft anymore.
No, we had bumper stickers for Doug Flutie to be drafted by the Bills.
Okay.
Heisman winner.
Yeah, right.
11th round.
Being the backup quarterback, that's when I was first starting to gather my sports memories. But, of course, he was the most popular quarterback in town with the Bears, even though they had Jim McMahon. He was, and then for years, why'd they get rid of Flutie? They never should have gotten rid of Flutie. And then it came out that, hey, by the way, all those players that you love in that Super Bowl team, they all hated him because of his role and how much Ditka liked him.
He would have been already in the USFL. 85, like he's on the Generals.
Generals, right.
Because that's McMahon against, so Joe, you're a young guy. 85 NFC Championship. Who was the Rams starting quarterback? Do you know? Also Canadian Football League ties. You want?
85? No, I don't know.
Dieter Brock.
Don't even know who that is.
Okay. Well, he's my anytime touchdown bet for you then.
Okay.
Plus $4 million. Dieter Brock tonight. No, Bulldog, he was like Winnipeg, right? All right. This can all, I'm just.
I don't know where he
around.
was. I mean, Toronto's where he won Grey Cup, so I don't remember.
Flutie.
Yeah,
not Dieter Brock.
Dieter Brock, sorry. Yeah, I don't remember where he was.
Dieter Brock, Winnipeg, Warren Moon, Edmonton,
Okay.
I want to say.
All right.
Joe, are the 2025 Chicago Bears a playoff team?
Don't know. I'm not going to hang up. I'm not going to laugh at you. Maybe Sam will do that if you present the same question tomorrow. They're the 8th seed. They have the same record as Detroit. What do I know? I do know that they've lucked into things a little bit here. I mean, there's no denying that. Number 1 turnover margin in the NFL, and they've happened to go against some really weak defenses. And you get Cincinnati when it's not Burrow. Right, you get Baltimore with a backup, you still end up losing that game.
Right.
But the defense has been brutal. Number of injuries on that side of the ball, but the excitement. It's funny because normally when the Bears are anywhere near the playoff picture, there's overexcitement. There's people talking stupid. I don't think that's happening. I think people are kind of dumbfounded and they're trying to figure out what this is. Okay, Ben Johnson's really good. He's better than any coach that I can remember. The Bears having. They actually have an edge in that department. It's obviously helping things, but how good are they? How good are they supposed to be at this point? I don't know. But I do know that they're favored to beat the Giants this weekend, so there's a good chance that they're going to be 6-3 by Sunday.
Plus 200 to make it. So the market, BetMGM.
Yeah. They could just be having that turnover year. Like it doesn't have to run out this season. Where it would get risky to me is if you're banking on it moving into another season. We solved some riddle. We know how to make this work all the time. Like it just doesn't happen that way. But you've seen Bears teams, right? That Super Bowl team that lost to Indy was this, wasn't it? Like the just Peanut Tillman and just takeaways out the wazoo.
Devin Hester's
pick
returns.
sixes and all that kind of stuff, right?
But I think sometimes there are exceptions to the rule. Like you're right, Bulldog. Most of the time, you don't want that too much because you know what's coming around the corner, and we're seeing that in the league now. Jacksonville comes to mind, right? Did they even have an interception last year? And they're up there near the top as far as turnovers. But sometimes you get exceptions to the rule. And I would say that those Lovey Bears for a while were exceptions to the rule. The Tomlin Steelers, exceptions to the rule where, okay, for a number of years, maybe it's because they coach it up so much. There are
Yep.
guys that are able to do that. You know, they're up near the top as far as turnovers.
Well,
So-
McDermott's Bills here, I think, year over year are top 5 in takeaways, and they were again last year. What they had last year, though, was they didn't lose it at all, so their differential was through the roof, and that I expected to regress, and it has. But yeah, you can emphasize and coach up punching the ball, like being ball focused. Like I think that's a real thing. The luck of not giving away yourself is something that I think is hard to count on.
If you're looking at the NFC and trying to figure out which team loses their spot, it's tough to find one until you get to San Francisco for me.
Joe, I just was betting this while we were talking. They're minus 450 to make it?
No.
Really? Plus 20 to win 86 for the no. I'm all over it. I mean,
the defense can't hold up. What are they going to do? Like, we talk all day about the guys coming back healthier, and Purdy's going to be there eventually. I've been hearing that for about a month. And it was Shanahan was saying yesterday, well, Ayuk's going to play at some point because they were talking about this being the part of the season when he would make his return. He's obviously not ready. That's the team that I would pinpoint and say I think they're going to fall out, and so that spot's available. And you've got Chicago sitting there. Dare I say Carolina sitting there as the 9 seed right now. There's a chance. Who knows? Minnesota, if they get things figured out at the quarterback position.
How about your Cardinals?
Yeah, we were talking about them today. They're better with Brissett. I'll say that.
Their losses are so dumb.
I know.
This year,
I know.
I mean, they could really have a great record right now.
If Murray's last game there is that Tennessee loss, right? Like that
seems fitting.
That would be incredible, right? The guy dropped the ball at the goal line. They had the interception that should have sealed the game that turned into a go-ahead touchdown for Tennessee. And Murray also got hit in the face with a snap and turned it over in that game. Right?
That's the DiMercato game too.
Yeah, right. That was the guy that dropped it at the goal line. Yeah. Thank you for having that guy's name.
Oh, you got it. Well,
anyway, what about the Packers? For all this, like I don't want to overreact to the 2 stanky losses, as they're the only 2 losses they have, but they are really peculiar losses. Like I don't know, I'm not sure I want to trust them.
And the tie,
right?
What I mean, I don't want to trust them. I can't trust them right now. I don't know. See, their ceiling is really strong. When they have it, when they're putting pressure on the quarterback. Man, do they look good. They want you to say, like, Super Bowl contender good. But then sometimes, like this past weekend, and their only touchdown against Carolina comes at the very end of the game at home, none of that seemed to make any sense. Yeah, and now Tucker Kraft is gone for the year. He was your guy that you ran a lot of the offense through. He was really coming on, especially was it the week before, and I think it was the Cowboys game. He was unbelievable, and now he's toast. So a lot of concerns there. There are a lot of teams in the NFC where you could look at it. I'm not saying they're going to miss the playoffs. They're going to be good enough. The floor is high enough there. But do you trust them in the postseason? Like, we've seen this before with LaFleur. I have a tough time getting there right now, guys. And this was a team that most people were very excited very early on.
Joe, let's hit the MVP odds here. Allen is the favorite at this point, beating Mahomes and the Chiefs last week. Allen, of course, won last year, and last year the discourse we talked all the time about, do they want to give Lamar Jackson a third or a second in a row? How does Allen compare in this way? He hasn't won 2, but he's won 1. And is he like, I'm not sure he's a good bet as the favorite. We don't like to bet favorites around here.
No, we like losing too much.
We just want to bet Darnold.
Speaking for us,
here.
Not Joe, by the way there.
How do you see it?
The bet, the timing of the bet was if you felt the Bills were going to win last weekend, it was to do it before last weekend because they were about dead even. And now it's, let's see, plus 175 is the best price you can get on Allen. And then the second favorite is Mahomes. What is interesting about this is, yes, of course, the winner of last week's game between the Bills and Chiefs, the quarterback's going to be the favorite. That's exactly how it ended up playing out. But it's a 4-player race right now. That's what's interesting. And the fourth name has changed just about every single week. So, yes, it's Allen Mahomes, But the guy that has the same odds as Mahomes is Drake May. So this is a guy who, after a month, he was 100-1. And now he's tied with Mahomes to be the second favorite. And now we have another new name that has entered the conversation. Any guesses on which quarterback that is?
It's not Darnold, is it?
No.
Bo Nix?
No. Matthew Stafford.
Flacco.
Stafford.
Not Flacco?
Not Flacco.
Because they're lost.
Flacco.
Stafford, of course.
Right.
Yes, he's right. So it's basically a top four. Stafford is 5-1, 6-1, and then there's a drop off down to 20-1 to Darnold that you mentioned there. That would have been probably my guess too.
Man,
but
whoa.
yeah, Stafford quietly, another 4-touchdown game last week. I know it was a weak opponent, but you start to look at his numbers, all that conversation in the offseason, well, his back, he's not going to be ready for the start of the year. He's not going to be the same Matthew Stafford. If we knew what we were going to get with Stafford, it'd be easier to project the Rams. Well, look at what he's doing, and he's part of that conversation. It's those four guys, a gap before you get to your Darnolds, your Mayfields, your Jalen Hurts.
Is Darnold nuts? Look how good he is.
I know.
Their team is good. He's throwing the ball all the time. Do they have enough marquee games left? If they win that division, it's a good division. Is that nuts? 20-1. Still pretty good price.
I don't think it's nuts. When is he going to get talked about nationally like we talk about him?
Yeah, that's what Mike just said. How many marquee games do they have left?
They don't have any. They don't have a night game left. Well, they have the Rams in Week 16.
Thursday
Night in Week 16. They get
December-
flexed.
And they could flex those last two. Like, what if it comes down to the Seahawks and the Niners, Week 18? That could get flexed, like to Sunday night or something. Say the division's on the line.
Week 15 Sunday night is Minnesota at Dallas. The Colts play the Seahawks.
If I'm a Seahawks fan and that Week 18 game gets flexed to the night game, I'm curled up in a ball about what Darnold looked like last year against Detroit in that spot. No, thank you.
He is a good story. He is a good story.
They're excellent. Their defense is so. They're as balanced as anybody.
Yeah.
You know? It's like them and the Rams.
Do you need a guy tonight? The bloom is off the rose on these touchdown props, but I don't know. Are you looking for something fun?
I'm always willing to listen.
I'll give you two.
Okay.
I'll play them. You know that every time we talk about this, I'll play these. Like Bulldog said, we love to lose around here.
I've already. Go ahead. I'll tell you if you want any of yours match mine.
I really enjoyed Paul's Lockett stuff this morning, but I'm not doing that. I just think he's so bad now. Yeah. I'd rather play Trey Tucker at plus 380 because he's going to start. Like, he's Myers. He has been productive for them this year. Plus 380, number one receiver on the Raiders. Plus 380.
He's going to get all the looks. He's going to get the looks with Myers going.
And it's Bowers and Tucker, I think. Yep. And if you want a funky tight end, and Sean Payton loves to show off, like he's the coach you want.
Here comes my guy,
Adam Troutman.
There it is,
plus 550.
I'm on
for
him.
Troutman.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Well, that's the bet.
I'll bet them both.
No doubt.
Tucker's too good a price for a wide receiver one on a team.
350.
380.
Troutman.
Oh, 550 for Troutman.
Oh, 550 for Troutman. All right, let's get greedy. Let's look at the first touchdown.
Oh. By the way, while you're doing that, R.J. Harvey to score is plus 210.
Yes.
He doesn't get many touches, but he gets in the end zone.
That's somebody I talked about. By the way, Troutman 20-1 for the first touchdown tonight.
Okay.
Yes. Sam was laying out the case that he thinks there's going to be a lot of running on the Denver side, and I get it. I can throw the trend at you, but he was talking about that, and Dobbins, I'm like, well, I would go with Harvey because he's getting almost the same amount of snaps. The receiving numbers on Harvey are very popular, but the rushing prop is only 22.5 yards. So better than 2-1 for a touchdown, like you mentioned, and then 22.5 for rushing yards. I think that's interesting.
Okay.
So
I saw 50-plus total yards plus 150 on Harvey.
That makes sense.
Is that are we in the room? Is Harvey in the room?
No, he was for... Was it receiving? I think he was for the receiving.
Okay.
Strictly.
It does feel a little obvious, but
it does.
A little chumpy.
It does.
The room, Bulldog. You got to follow the room.
You got to watch out for the room.
The room. Yeah. Well, okay. So here's the angle. Raiders on the field, 77 plays against Jacksonville in the overtime game. On the field for 43 minutes. Okay. So last 20 years, when you're coming off an overtime game, opponent does not against the spread, they cover 33% of the time. When it's a Thursday situation, overtime, opponent not, 4-23 against the spread. 15%.
And they're traveling.
Yes.
And altitude.
And you're the road team, and you're playing in Denver. Yeah, there's a lot going against Vegas.
Ooh, yuck.
Doesn't mean they can't score touchdowns, though. But.
How about that the Raiders ran 30 plays against the Chiefs? Who was it last week? New Orleans had the ball for 16 minutes against the Rams last week. Paltry stuff. Joe, always a pleasure. Thank you for this, and we'll talk next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Joe Ostrowski, Bet Sweats, 9 to noon weekday mornings. You like any of that action?
Oh yeah,
Troutman, you're on Troutman.
Yeah, and I'm throwing Tucker in on my parlay already. I'm putting it all together.
You get that Steeler Bengal game. You get a game like that again. That's just well.
I'd have to retire or become a pro.
Imagine if this game tonight's like 37, 34 or whatever that would be. Just I hope so. We have lines open at 803-0550. Sal is at 5 today. Lots of room in between. Sabres and Blues tonight. Downtown pregame at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. 550. Here's John with us. Hi, John.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good. Appreciate you taking my call. Hey, I had a scenario I wanted to lay out for you guys and just kind of get your thoughts. It might even be a good poll to put out on Twitter or whatnot. But playoff scenario right now is pretty interesting. So my scenario is, would we as Bills fans take the playoff seeding as they lay right now with Kansas City and also Baltimore not being in the playoffs and go in as the 5th seed? It looks pretty favorable to us. Or play it out, have a chance for both Kansas City and Baltimore to be in at the end of the year. That's kind of my scenario. I think it's an interesting conversation you could put out there. But would we want that now? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I like this question. I don't think it's an easy answer. My default setting has been I want the one. I want the week off, and I'll deal with what comes. But Baltimore and Kansas City, to me, easily look more intimidating as opponents, even at home, than Indianapolis or New England, or Denver, for that matter. All the teams that are ahead right now. So I think I still would want to say, get me the time off. So I want to strive for the one, but I like this is a good. It is. I think it's a good question.
I do too, but I wouldn't take it. How often do you get to the Super Bowl winning 3 road games? Just no matter what we think Indianapolis is or Denver or any of these guys, I still wouldn't. It's 3 road games. Almost definitely. Not always would it be like 5 versus 6, 5 versus 7, but
yeah.
I would pass. It's thought-provoking, but I would pass. Thanks, John. We will talk some more after the update here on WGR.
Some changes from yesterday on the Bills' official injury report. Joey Bosa, James Cook, Taron Johnson, and Daquan Jones all returned to practice today and were all limited. Terrell Bernard goes from limited to a full participant, while on the opposite side of things, Christian Benford goes from limited to not practicing, and he joins also not practicing A.J. Epinesa, Shaq Thompson, and Sam Franklin. Franklin, though, is dealing with an illness. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. For the Bills' opponent on Sunday, the Miami Dolphins, Chop Robinson and Rasul Douglas, again, do not practice. We'll hear from Sal Capaccio a little bit later on in the show at 5 p.m., so do stay tuned for that. Week 10, though, is going to get started tonight, Thursday Night Football. Denver hosts the Raiders with kickoff at 8:15 over on Amazon Prime. You can also listen to the game over on our sister station, the Bet 1520, with coverage starting at 7:30. And then tragic news down in Dallas. Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Nealand died this morning from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound, according to local law authorities. Nealand was 24 years old. Sabres game night tonight, pregame at 6, a 7 p.m. puck drop. Sabres do host St. Louis. Tyson Kozak looks to return to the lineup, and all signs are pointing to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen getting the start in net. And then one big note for St. Louis tonight. It does appear forward Jordan Kyrou is going to be a healthy scratch. And then 8 other games in the NHL tonight. Some of the notables include Bruins hosting Ottawa and the Devils hosting Montreal. Both of those are at 7. Then 2 games at 10 to wrap up your evening. Panthers at LA and Tampa at Las Vegas. And Sports Talk on WGR is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL games live every Sunday, all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I gotta wonder what kind of working relationship you'd have with Satan.
It's Mike Schopp.
I've often wondered that.
Like he, they, I don't know what his pronouns are, or their pronouns. Anyway, Satan.
And the Bulldog.
What's the upside of doing well?
Well, maybe they're too busy making everyone else's life hell.
Oh, boy.
And
Wow.
you might just be able to do your own thing if you're partnered with Satan.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
They're too busy, making Scott Norwood miss field goals.
Oh, come on.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Well, I'm just still, I'm late to having formulated this thought fully.
Okay.
I'm a few seconds late. Thinking about Brandon Beane, again, referencing fantasy football yesterday. Like, I think he has, this is not a big comment, a good way about him, like disposition, Beane. I think if he sounded different, though, maybe looked different, sounded different, he might get people really fired up because some of it is just a lot. And, it's sort of a soft sound and gentle. And what he's saying, like, guys, it wasn't soft or gentle when he walked in our doors back the day after the draft. But still, like in general, I think he has kind of a good way about him. But he's also he says things like this, just like what we don't know. He's telling us what we don't know. And yesterday there was another comment about fantasy, trades, what? They're easy to talk about and all these two to tango, all the kind of stuff about how it didn't get done. But he wasn't, he sounded to many, I think, down about it, defeated even maybe, but he wasn't
Definitely
angry. He didn't sound angry or anything like that, I thought. But
I think that
what is he mad at?
I think he's mad that he couldn't get a deal done. I think he came off mad.
Okay.
Like, not mad like he was mad the day, he made his appearance after the draft. But I think there was an undercurrent of frustration, which isn't necessarily equate to anger, but I think he was frustrated for sure, maybe even mad. To admit that, he even said, I went home did he say as mad as any fan or frustrated as any fan about not getting a deal done? He also mentioned feeling like having the thought that it felt like, well, that was a waste of time. Like all the work he did, that to me definitely sounds at least frustrated, if not mad. So, yeah, I think it all sort of lines up. And the fantasy thing, there was a clip from the morning show today. Joe is off; he's in Florida, going to the Miami game, and so Jeremy was hosting, but without Joe. And he sort of laid out the trail of breadcrumbs, is how he phrased it. And one of the things, along with the fantasy football comment, I didn't catch, there was something about younger GMs in there, which, Jer, I excuse me, I apologize. The Jacksonville GM might be 35 years old. And like that adds to, at least for Jeremy, and I guess to me for an extent too, because I think it at least lines up. I'm guessing they were chasing Brian Thomas Jr., but again, I don't know that. It just sort of, some stuff leads you to that conclusion, but you could be way off base. Maybe he was chasing Calvin Ridley or something. I don't know.
That shouldn't have been hard.
But right. But see, like that's where the trail of breadcrumbs can lead you there, because he said something about, talking to teams and not really you're hanging on to that guy, you guys, your record's not good, your season's not going well. What are you doing? Kind of thing. But the little jab at a younger GM, and I don't remember in what context that was said, but I know Jer mentioned it as part of the case he was sort of building, trying to figure out maybe what happened exactly on trade deadline day. So
that they come from like the fantasy world.
I guess that's what, play Madden, you're used to being able to do these things on a computer that in real life it's harder to navigate, I guess is the point. Which I don't know, is that not 100% correct? Probably. Like you're dealing with human beings.
It is.
And it's, pro football with salaries and,
There's no point in being bitter about it, though, or being angry at it, right? I mean, that's what it is. Bean is not an old guy. I mean, we're not talking about Gettleman here. Bean is 49. Does he feel like he's just in the wrong room at this point? I thought before the season, remember this? We're talking about the upcoming season, like, who's really on the hot seat is Brandon Bean. Like this is because they haven't had enough success recently in the draft. And Allen is well established. Now your job is to get him to the top, either through drafting defensive linemen constantly or receivers or whatever it is you've got to do. You've got to do it. And it seemed to me like that we would be talking maybe more about him than McDermott, just like that Bean would be the one in the crosshairs this year. And even though they're 6-2 and still very much alive for all of it, I think that's been right. And especially around the deadline. It's sort of a cheap time to bring it up because, of course, it's going to be true around the deadline.
Right.
But still.
I think a part of what we heard and saw him sound and look like, it doesn't really matter what he looked like. How he sounded on Tuesday, I think he feels that. I really do. I think what I think we heard on Tuesday was a general manager who was defiant about not feeling as though he needed to do a thing that a lot of people out here thought he should do. And as it turned out, weeks into the season, I think he probably realized, either through just his own analysis or people around him, maybe his head coach, maybe his offensive coordinator, maybe his quarterback, I don't know, some combination of things, people may have had an impact on him that he decided, all right, I got to try to do this thing that I didn't think I'd need to do. And then he couldn't do it. I mean, anyone would be frustrated by that scenario. Again, if that's in the ballpark of what went down, right? I'm defiant about thinking I need this. I disagree with the gallery here. I don't think I should have to do this. Look at the results. Look at my team last year. Just stick it with this. I need another receiver thing. And the season gets going. And again, maybe people around him, maybe he himself just went like, I wish I hadn't gone that far out on that dock. I might have to do a thing. And so you swallow hard. I'm going to go do this thing. All right. And then it to some degree blows up in your face. And now you've got to go out and talk about how you tried to do the thing, not in specifics. I mean, he's going to tell you, but I mean, he did bring up receiver. I think it makes sense. They were connected to receivers. I trust some of that. I think that's a frustrated person right now. And I think with justification. If I'm, feeling around here accurately at all, that I would be frustrated if I were in that situation. I think anybody would be.
You also, by the way, and we can disavow this, but listening to McDermott the last time or two, you brought up how you thought he sounded like he wanted help.
Yeah.
And then there wasn't any.
Right.
Yesterday.
Right. So I think. There's a lot of dot connecting, and the ice gets thinner the more dots you try to stretch out, and I recognize that. So I'm being intentionally careful here, not because I'm like afraid to say a wrong thing, but I don't want to assert that I know any of this. But I think you can read between some lines. I think you can connect like you did. I'm glad you mentioned the McDermott bit of this from a couple of weeks ago when it sounded like he was frustrated with his pass catchers and thought they needed more. And I did not think the game against Kansas City should have done away with any of that. So it makes sense to me that internally there was pressure to get a deal done, and that would make Bean feel more frustrated than just the noise out here, I think. But it all sort of culminates. It's one big wave, and once it's inside the building, then that's a different thing for him. Like the people he works with might want something to happen, and he couldn't facilitate it.
Let's go to Nick here. Hi, Nick.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
It's funny because before the trade deadline, I'm not even sure I wanted the Bills to make a move. But then I see all these contending teams making moves, even like a Colts team led by Daniel Jones. And I'm just like, man, they're going in on a Daniel Jones-led team. And the Bills, I just feel like the complacency or like the content of like being in the realm of having a shot to win, it just almost allows them to be like just okay with, it didn't work out. Where I wanted them to maybe be fired up by the Eagles making all these moves. They just won, and they're still not content. And I can just already see, like, the pattern of excuses that we've seen year after year with, like, oh, man, like, we had a team, but injuries, decimated us at the end of the year. But we're already seeing the injuries pile up. So, like, we could have probably done something to bolster this roster to have a more solidified chance. And I get it, like maybe Bean didn't see the value, but like that's your job to find a trade to improve your team. Like I understand if maybe some of the value didn't work out, but your job is to find that value and to make moves to improve your team when everyone else is doing so. And maybe, it doesn't always be tried. And I think that's what drove me the most nuts is all these other teams in contention tried.
Well, we got to be careful with over and over saying all these other teams. There are like maybe two.
Indianapolis made a big move for sure. I mean, they pushed all in. Jacksonville made a trade for a receiver, which might explain why it could line up that they would have been willing to part with someone as good and young as Brian Thomas Jr. And Baltimore made a move.
Seattle.
In the AFC. Seattle in the NFC made a move. Philadelphia made a move. They're a top-tier team. That's the list.
Yeah, like New England could have thought it needed somebody. Kansas City and Breece Hall were talked about a lot. Pittsburgh is in a playoff spot. Denver
talked about a lot.
Definitely won. Chargers.
Tampa's had a lot of injuries. Did they? I don't think they did anything of substantive.
My struggle this week has been that and this call exemplifies it, has been that we're making the trade deadline out to be basically the entire offseason. It's like, oh, how could you not? Most teams don't. And only recently has the deadline become interesting at all in the NFL. It's not like it's a holiday, where everybody goes shopping. And I mean, these trades are complicated with contracts. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him, because basically you're saying I would have liked one thing. I think one thing gets people off his back, and then you just have to see how it turns out, like Cooper did.
Right.
But that didn't work out. Do we like that he made that trade? I would say yes.
I still do. Yeah.
Didn't work out. Well, the caller's like, that's your job. Well, your job is to get it right, preferably, not just to do anything. And Cooper is a cautionary tale. Maybe they might have been a little bit less willing this time around to make the same trade because of how last year's went. I don't know. I think that might be right. Let's go to RJ. Hi, RJ.
Hey, guys. So my big thing here is listening to him talk yesterday. I felt almost duped by what he was saying, or he was trying to dupe us, because I don't believe he believed the words he was talking. He talked about things like, hey, trades couldn't happen, and that's a possibility. I will believe, but if you remember, he goes, well, we don't want to push something down so it strangles us in 2027. I don't care about 2027 right now. I care about 2025, and he kept bringing up, we have Josh Allen. Stop using that. He needs things to make his team better around Josh. And that's, I think, Bean has just put his hat on Josh Allen, that he can make all the blemishes go away when he plays well. But if he doesn't have that attacker that he can use in a game and rely on, he can't do everything. He can't score every touchdown. He can't run every ball. And I just felt at that time that in his voice, I just felt he didn't believe what he was saying either on everything he was talking about. And he was hoping the Bills fans bought it. And I'm just not into buying that right now. I'm worried about 2025, not 2027 right now.
That particular point, I don't blame him for. Maybe some of the other stuff there is fair. But like the last guys, do your job. His job includes caring about the future.
2027, yeah.
And 2 years ago, if he makes a move and said, or he doesn't, he's like, I got to think about 2025. We would have said the same thing because they'd been in the playoffs 3-4 years in a row. And here we would be 2 years later, I wish I didn't do that, had this draft pick or this cap space or whatever. So I think that's a little much for me. He has to care about the future too. And, I guess it's debatable. The Colts did what they did. And that's close to not caring about 2027.
Yeah, it is. and it's big money coming in, too. I think the context in which he makes that point is important to remember. To the caller and anyone else listening to what the caller just pointed out, I think, he's talking about players with big contracts that they'd be inheriting, which, does not really include Rashid Shaheed or even Brian Thomas Jr. right now. It might include a commitment to, in the future, do something big with that player, but it was not something that was immediately pressing down on you. But there were other players, like Jalen Waddle's an example of a player with a huge contract that, I don't know, I never really took the idea of the Bills trading for Jalen Waddle seriously enough to look at what the contract would actually be like were he to be moved, and just how flexible you could have been within that, because I just didn't think Miami was going to trade Jalen Waddle to the Bills. Possible they could have traded him somewhere else. I just didn't think they'd do it in division. So it's another way that I think he is, I understand the caller's frustration. It's a long list of reasons why what we all wanted to happen, including himself, Bean, didn't happen today. Maybe deals that were presented to him that he liked the asking price on. Well, why do we know enough about this now? Why do those deals get made? Because you're inheriting them, you're taking the burden of the contract. And the Bills were not in a position to do that. They just weren't. If they were going to, and Bean did clarify this too, because I mentioned how the Jalen Phillips trade happened and how the Eagles got Miami to keep a bunch of that money. keep a bunch of that money. They converted it to a signing bonus, and so his salary for the rest of the year it fit under Philadelphia's cap. There was a deadline to do that with players that were going to get moved, and it was Monday at 4 o'clock, which I did not know about. So you couldn't just call up the Dolphins and ask for Jalen Waddle and say, yeah, but we need you to take 80% of his salary this year, convert it to bonus, and then we'll make this trade and we'll live with the rest of the contract in the future years. That time had already come and gone. And so if Miami were serious about trading the player to a team that couldn't take the full contract, they would have needed to act before Tuesday. And, they didn't.
What's the point of that? So that the league has an extra day to make sure everything's cool?
I'm not sure. The first I ever heard of it was when I heard Bean talking about it. I think after our show on Tuesday, it got played, or yesterday. I don't remember what day. Anyway, so I did not know about that, but I'm not sure why it exists, why it has to be done that way, why I can't just do that. Oh, you want this player? Okay, yeah, we'll do that for you, in the moment. But there is a deadline for it. So he's citing a specific category of player that he couldn't trade for, which would be a guy with a $10 million salary for the rest of the year.
Once it got to be yesterday.
Right.
Friday would have been fine.
Sure.
That way you still have the weekend.
Right.
Mike is next. Hello, Mike.
How are you?
Good. Thank you, Mike.
Listen, I got to jump in on this chorus, too, with Brandon Green. Isn't it all just a little bit simpler than we're making it? Like, the Dolphins are not going to trade with us. The Jets are not going to trade with us. The Jags probably were never giving up Thomas. What about Shaheed? He was there for the taking. He went for a 4 and a 6. Everybody would have been delighted to get that speed on the outside. The asking price wasn't a lot. Why not zero in on the guy you really want and need that will actually help Josh and pull it off?
Well,
literally, go for it. I mean, if a 4 and a 6 took it, maybe a 4 and a 5, might have done the job. Who knows? But there's one player that I think everyone is really frustrated about to see go away for that price that he did.
I'm right with you. I think that's right. And Bulldog said yesterday that maybe the answer to that is that they were still hoping to do better.
Yeah.
And ultimately they couldn't. And if they wanted Shaheed, the frustration you saw yesterday might have been partly that was a trade I was willing to make, but we had this other, maybe he thinks somebody played him and then went the other way at the last minute where it was too late to get Shaheed. In deals, and this isn't something anybody needs to tell Brandon Bean, but timing. And sometimes you got to say yes before there is precedent, before there is a standard that's been set. This is, what a player like this is worth. And then everybody else can work around that. Somebody has to set that. Is that the word I want, precedent? Somebody has to establish that value. And again, maybe this is one where the Bills didn't. Well, we know they didn't.
Right. The danger in being the team that sets the market is that you've set the market and everybody else paid less. And now you look like a chump. But you got the guy, that's the point, right? If you want the guy, get the guy. Listen, I don't know it. My very strong suspicion is exactly what you just said. That, again, not knowing if Shaheed appealed to them or not, but I think it makes sense that they were shooting bigger, and Shaheed happened early enough in the day that they might have thought, we got this other stuff cooking, and this will be better for us, so let's focus on that and not get – because you get Shaheed, you're not doing the other thing.
So is this all admitting defeat on the receiver room? Even just going as far as to talk about it like that yesterday, and we tried, that isn't what I was predicting, which was that they would not really try.
Mm-hmm.
That they have told you what they want. They have established who they are and what they have, and that they're going to ride it out because their record is good and their numbers are still good. And why would there be any big move? Maybe that was wrong, that they wanted to make a big move but didn't. I'm not claiming victory on that. I never thought a receiver trade was going to happen, but I kind of feel like now they wanted it to. And all right.
That leaves everybody in a kind of a weird place.
What was all that you said? And what happened to 30 points a game? What happened to Keon Coleman's development? I mean, are we done with Coleman? Are we done with everybody eats? Are we but even if we are too bad because there's no one new to come in and change. Yeah, it's like everything is sort of wrong.
Dude, the day after the draft, the day that he makes his appearance on the station and goes nuclear like he did, that afternoon, I know I said, because I still believe it now, he was putting himself in the line of fire. Big time. Your receiver group better come through for Josh Allen in this offense, because if it doesn't, everybody is going to be right here with how much of a spectacle you made of the whole thing after the draft. And I think Tuesday was an opportunity to try to, fix that, if you will. And that, I think, is where the frustration came from.
I can't wait for the Bills to win the Super Bowl this year and have Curtis Samuel be their leading receiver at 4 for 37, and we just complain about it at the parade. Sal at 5, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
For the Bills' official injury report, Joey Bosa, James Cook, Taron Johnson, and Daquan Jones do all return to practice today. They were all limited. Terrell Bernard goes from limited to full, while Christian Benford goes the other way, limited to not practicing, and he joins A.J. Epinesa, Shaq Thompson, and Sam Franklin as the non-participants. Franklin, though, is dealing with an illness. And the Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. Do stay tuned. Coming up in just about a half hour, Sal Capaccio will join the show for the latest on the Bills at 5 p.m. Week 10, though, is going to get underway tonight, Thursday Night Football. Denver hosts the Raiders with kickoff at 8:15. It'll be over on Amazon Prime. And you can listen to the game over on our sister station, the Bet 1520, starting at 7:30. But right here on WGR, it is Sabres game night. Pre-game at 6, a 7 p.m. puck drop. Sabres do host St. Louis. Tyson Kozak looks to return to the lineup, and all signs are pointing to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen getting the start in net. And then one big note for St. Louis, it does appear forward Jordan Kyrou is going to be a healthy scratch. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
You know, we try and build this roster to not need a trade, okay? Because these guys are learning the playbook, especially at a position of wide receiver. They're learning that all spring, assuming you got them in the spring or you've had them before. And that playbook is being built up, and then game plans are pulled off of that each week by your opponent. And so it's not as easy as, hey, trade for player receiver X, drop him in, and he's just going to run with the rest of them.
Due respect, that's another comment I'm thinking of when I said at the beginning of our conversation today about him. If he sounded different, that would come off worse, I think. Like, I can think of other Sabres and Bills GMs that had more of an edge to their sound, and I probably treated what they said more harshly than I am inclined to do here. But it doesn't. I'm not sure I'm right to be like that. It's more just sort of superficial. He doesn't really need to tell us that players aren't automatically amazingly good when you put them on your team. Like, fans don't not know that. We already know that it isn't a given that somebody. We know from Bill's experience. I mean, look around. We know all the time that they're not. You don't have to tell us that guys might not work into the lineup fast enough or whatever it is that he was going for there. We know.
I think. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say this because the thought has come into my head each time you've made the point about how he sounds. There's just enough of a Southern accent in there. I think that just, he does not. He's not Buddy Nix, okay, but there's enough in there that it just this sounds fine. Whereas I think if he were talking like in my voice or your voice or I don't know Kevin Adams' voice, it might just like. I'm not sure I like how this sounds.
I need to sound like him because I'm in trouble all the time for perfectly well-meaning advice that, well, I don't like your tone. Yep. I've been getting that my whole life, that my tone is the problem. Like, what about the words? If he had a thicker Southern accent, people would knock him for being dumb. I think that's kind of what.
That's why I said.
Unfortunately,
he's not Buddy Nix. But it's subtle. But it's like this just seems like a nice guy. Which I think a Southern accent, like your knee-jerk, not to be completely awfully stereotypical, I think your knee-jerk reaction, listening to someone with just a little bit of a Southern accent, is like, this is pleasing.
Yeah, right. It sounds nice.
Yeah.
I need to find a slight Southern accent somewhere.
Right.
My grandfather just died. When I would hang out with my grandfather for a couple days, I always came back with a little bit of a kick to my voice because he had he's from Kentucky. Just like what I'm doing right now is a little bit of grandpa, just sort of a little bit of a little bit of a style. But that would wear off.
When you were younger, right? Like when I was a kid, we'd go to drive south for a 2-week vacation. Mm-hmm. I'd come back and I think if I don't have audio evidence of this, but I think I had a little bit of a more fried chicken on my voice.
You come back with a drawl?
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right. Well, what's the point? None of that should matter.
No, of course.
Give it to us in Italian next time. I mean, whatever. None of it should matter. Jim is next. Hello.
Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Long-time listener. Appreciate what you guys do every day.
Well, thanks for being a long-time listener. We appreciate that.
My take today is how do we know what the ask was, the true ask was to the Buffalo Bills? Or if I heard Kansas City was in on Bryce Hall. I don't know if that's just was floating out there, or if that was a true statement. Given that GMs are probably looking for as much as they can to do the best things they can. Everybody's trying to win the deal. They're going to try to ask for as much as they possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Shaheed went for a fourth and a fifth, but maybe the ask to Buffalo was a third and a fifth, or a fourth, 2 fours, or something different that just seemed too steep for that player. And I'm not trying to defend Dean, but
no, you're making a perfectly reasonable point. We do not know. It was a fourth and a sixth, by the way, that Shaheed went for. But yeah, no, we don't know on what end of things it went awry.
I'm as frustrated as everybody else, being a fan, lifelong fan, and hoping, let's make a deal, let's get something to put us over the edge and give us that extra. We've got all these injuries, let's give us something, and nothing happened. And I mean, it was all the teams that, Kansas City really didn't do anything. We didn't really do anything. Some of the other teams didn't do anything. I can't say that. I think there was a caller a couple calls ahead of me that said something about worrying about 26 or 27. Yeah, they have to. You can't sell the farm, just because you need something today. And I agree with that to an extent. But yeah, it's frustrating. He always alludes to, it takes two to tango. And I think that we didn't get all the information. I think he was trying to be as most sincere as possible without telling who he was dealing with or what was going on. I'm sure he was making phone calls, but yeah, that's my point.
Okay.
I'll hang up and listen to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could always say we don't know if Seattle had a different asking price to the Bills than the Saints, or rather the Saints, a different asking price to the Bills than to Seattle. But why would they? I mean, I know you don't want to assume anything here. Why would they? Why wouldn't the Saints want to do the best they could do?
The teams are comparable enough in the standings right now. They could be worried, the Bills are going to go farther. Their picks are going to be less valuable than Seattle's maybe, so that would be a reason why you want something more from Buffalo.
Okay.
I guess.
Day 3.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just know, what we're talking about today here is... Yes, it ends up being we're speculating about and guessing about what may have happened and who were they targeting and how did it fall apart, if indeed there was even anything in place that fell apart. What this conversation today sprang from was you pointing out how he sounded yesterday or Tuesday when he spoke. He sounded frustrated, even maybe angry about the failure to get a deal done. And so that in and of itself leads you to think, at least strongly suspect, that he was in on stuff and it just never got across the finish line, because he talked about how hard they grinded on these guys. They really worked on it and it all ended up being for naught and whatever. He very much came across to me. There have been times where GMs, I'm thinking more of the hockey teams in our history here, came off of course we weren't doing that. No, that's not for us.
Kevin Adams is often that way.
And
right?
Yeah, right. When what Bean sounded like when he talked about this was I didn't do a good job at my job today. It is how I think he came off. And I think when someone is taking that posture, it's largely because they really believe they didn't get done what they set out to do. They did not make happen what they wanted to make happen.
Everything the Sabres haven't gotten done, they didn't want.
Right.
Why would we want to move Zemgus? Just everything's by design over there, it sounds like to me. Over the years. The line is coming up.
Oh, hey now.
I mean, hopefully Bean, for his sake, is in a better mood today. He probably is because of the Journey announcement.
What's the Journey announcement?
They're coming to Buffalo on their final Frontier tour. Well, of course you would have missed that, because Journey is the one band ever that you have you just don't care about, and you would have missed that. I'm sure there's lots of other music news today.
That is not the one band ever. There are many such bands, but they are very much near the top of that list.
They're not interesting to you at all.
Not at all. No.
I love them. I love Journey. So maybe we'll go see Journey.
They're not at the top. They're not at the top of that list for me because I understand their appeal well enough. I mean, I do. It's just not. It's not my thing. I don't like it, but I get it, and I don't say that like I'm judging. It's just not. It just does not appeal to me. A band like Def Leppard, I've never really understood the appeal. Like they're as popular, if not more popular than Journey. I don't know. Huge band. And I just don't. I look at it, I hear it, and I just go, I don't know. I don't. There's nothing here for me that I don't understand how you like this. You have ears and eyes. I don't get it. Journey, I understand until I understand
I understand
how the chemistry goes. Oh, I like this. Def Leppard is a mystery to me. I will go to my grave not understanding how they sold like billions of records. I don't get it.
10 records. How did you sell 10 records?
Let alone 5 million.
Yes. How did you do it? The Line, and then Sal, as we return, it'll be Sabres and Blues tonight. Pregame at 6 here on WGR. Just a quick heads up about your electrical system when you have a problem.
Here's a little journey for you right now.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
My joke.
Got a piece of paper to ruffle or something. I had the wrong script. I don't have anything. Sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't use your. It's a hack job by me to use your joke.
That's a tribute, really. The way I see it, I'm taking it as a compliment.
Well, that's as well as that could have come off then.
It's time now for The Line, presented by FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Thursday Night Football is the Raiders at the Broncos. Denver is a 9-point favorite. Joe Ostrowski came on earlier, and he's like, guys, did you know? Teams that played in overtime the week before and then play on Thursday the next week against the spread are 4-23 against teams that did not just play in overtime, by the way. I'm like, and they have to travel, the Raiders, and altitude. Let me tell you about a little something called 5-23.
This all sounds bad for the Raiders.
It does. And they're the Raiders.
That is really the biggest point.
It is. Give me the 9 points. We're going to 5-23 tonight, folks. I am just not the type of person who wants to give 9 points when my quarterback is Bo Nix.
I'm seeing 8.5 at FanDuel right now.
8.5.
By the way, this is FanDuel sponsors this segment. Let's use their number.
I haven't looked in an hour,
and you can tell that means I'm going to take Denver because I'm quibbling about the half a point and making sure we're clear on what the spread is this game.
Sure, yes, I guess it does.
Right. I'll go against you. I had a good, immaculate week for me last week in the picks. Well, I didn't get Thursday. Wait, what was Thursday? Did I get Thursday? I don't remember.
I think you did.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Either way, the Sunday, Monday picks, the weekend picks, I was 5-0. 4 pro, 1 college. So I made up a little ground on you, I think.
3-2.
So I'll go against you here and hope that Denver can cover, even though every game they play seems to be like, just right down to the wire.
Now I can't think of what the Thursday night game was last week. I'm going to have to look. I feel like Al Michaels has been out west for a while. There was the game in L.A. So week 9. Oh, Baltimore, Miami. Wrong.
Oh,
so he was Baltimore, Miami.
I missed. You had Baltimore and I had Miami. I thought Miami was going to score.
That's right.
Whoa! Anyway. So I'll take Denver minus the points. When we talked to Joe, we got back on the random depth tight end train, scoring a touchdown. Adam Troutman, I'm gonna bet that. I also like R.J. Harvey to score. It's not like he's a regular. He scored 2 against Dallas. I think no touchdowns in the previous 4 games aside from that 2 touchdown output against Dallas. But he
scored last week too.
Oh, he did?
Harvey?
Yeah.
Against Houston?
Oh, I thought I saw 0. I thought I just looked at his stats.
Well, that's after the Dallas game.
Right. I know. I looked at that. I didn't see a touchdown in his thing. Maybe it was the wrong stat.
Maybe they overturned it.
I don't know.
Like one of these Sabre stat things 2 days later or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was looking at rushing stats and he had a receiving or
he had a receiving touchdown.
Okay, that probably is what I saw then.
I don't hate it. He doesn't play enough for me. We mentioned it when Joe was on. I already have 3 games for Sunday that I think I want to include in picks. Usually with picks, I do them like 10 minutes before we go. But I have 3 games that I really like right now. Again, this does not necessarily correlate.
1 second. He's got 3 games in a row then with touchdowns. I was looking at rushing stats only. So he's scored three games in a row. So I'm going to bet on a 4th for Harvey.
Okay. He's running hot.
Yep.
I like Carolina this week against New Orleans. I like Green Bay Monday night against the Eagles. And Joe O asked me, as he's in a big Survivor contest, how I feel about the Bills. And I don't love it. They've been so good against the Dolphins for so long. Maybe that continues, but I'm not inclined to give 9 points. I just don't really like the vibes. Maybe it's just me. What would this be called in a meeting? Like deflecting or projecting my anxiety about them toward the Bills? I don't know. I like the idea of the Dolphins being loose here. In a lot of these games with the Bills, they couldn't have afforded to be. I'm not sure about winning the game, but I'm not inclined to give 9 with the Bills Sunday. Sal Capaccio next, the latest on injuries and Sunday's matchup. When we return, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Injury report. Joey Bosa, James Cook, Teron Johnson, and Daquan Jones all returned to practice. They were all limited. Terrell Bernard goes from limited to a full participant, while Christian Benford goes the other way, goes from limited to not practicing. And he does join A.J. Epinesa, Shaq Thompson, and Sam Franklin as non-participants. Franklin is dealing with an illness. And the Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8 million. Down in Miami, Chop Robinson and Rasul Douglas again do not practice. And stay tuned, coming up next, we'll get more on the Bills as they get ready for their matchup with Miami. Sal Capaccio joins the show next. Week 10, though, gets underway tonight. Thursday Night Football, Denver hosting the Raiders. Kickoff at 8:15 over on Amazon Prime. You can also listen to the game, though, over on our sister station, The Bet 1520, coverage starting at 7:30. And then tragic news down in Dallas from earlier this morning. Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland died this morning from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound that, according to local authorities, Kneeland was 24 years old. Sabres game tonight, pregame at 6. That's in about an hour. A 7 p.m. puck drop. Sabres do host St. Louis. Tyson Kozak looks to return to the lineup, and then all signs point to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen getting the start in net. And then one major note for the St. Louis lineup, it does appear forward Jordan Kyrou is going to be a healthy scratch. And then in college hoops tonight, Canisius, they host Allegheny just after 7 o'clock. And Sports Talk on WGR is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL games live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I didn't know, like you said before, that the Blues goalie who tried to steal that puck last night, Alex Ovechkin's 900th goal, think about that, already had a bad reputation. I didn't know that. Sal Capaccio with us now on the Western Hotline. Sal, would you say you had authority over sports? Would you kick Jordan Binnington out of the league for that act last night, or would you also have him serve time? Would it be just kick him out of the league, or would you make sure he did time for that?
Like in prison?
Yes.
Okay.
That might be a little bit too far. I heard a theory today, too. This has been talked about today. I've been talking with some people. I heard a theory today, too, that he actually, even before, because Bulldog is totally right.
Yeah.
He has this reputation, right? Mm-hmm. So what did you hear, bro? Like he might have had another puck that he put in his pants before the game.
He had a stunt puck. So that he planned, if Ovechkin scores, I'm going to keep the puck. And then when I get called out on it, I'm going to give them back the fake puck, the stunt puck, basically. I love stunt puck.
Love a stunt puck.
Did you guys already talk about this? I'm sorry.
No, not really. This specifically. We talked about his reputation. That's where Mike learned that he is like an all-time jerk already within the league. I mean, he just, I don't even know if his teammates like him. But I'm sure whatever, when he wins for them, it's all fine.
There might be value in just carrying a puck around in certain situations.
Maybe. I mean, Ovechkin wasn't too happy about it. He's like, it started, and he goes, no
I'm not going to comment. Yeah, no, right.
I'll be honest with you. I just heard in the update, Jordan Kyrou is a healthy scratch.
Yes.
Like, this is the dude that, like, we were all like, oh, my God, could the Sabres trade for this guy? I just went back and looked to make sure I wasn't, like,
no, you're right.
Was I wrong? He's over 100 goals over the last 3 years.
He's got 3 30-goal seasons in a row.
Yes.
And he's not off to – he's got 4 goals, 8 points maybe, or 8 assists or whatever.
4 and 4.
So, it's not terrible. But, yeah, they're spiraling. Wow. They've played 14 games. Last night was the 4th time in a game this year they've been behind by 4 or more goals. Like they're just getting stomped in
Can't
games.
wait for that to happen again tonight.
Right. So it's just like shake-up time. I think the coach even said, any number of guys I could take out, but, he might be going for maximum effect. I'm going to bench, one of our, or if not our best guy, and see if we can't get a fire lit here. What they need is saves.
Binnington's not playing tonight either, right?
No, the other,
I don't think so.
Hofer is the other guy.
Hofer?
They're both hovering around 850 save per. They're terrible. They are giving up goals. I saw Expected Buffalo tweets out these game charts, and their goals below expected or goals saved above expected is like minus 18 or something. Like they are just getting no goaltending at all.
This guy's name is pronounced Hofer?
I think that's right.
It should be.
I think so.
H-O-F-E-R. It should be H-O-F-er. Hall of Fame. Shouldn't it be H-O-F-er? His goals against is 5.02.
Yeah, that's a bad number.
Who is he? Gilles Malache?
Well, they better Sabres with their 20 forwards injured better still take advantage of this.
I know, right? The Sabres are not. That lineup is
classic matchup.
Pretty skint.
Gilles Malache catching strays. He was good. I just thought of a name that I thought was funny. Okay, to the Bills and the injury report. I didn't see this first, but I had friends in a group thread talking about Cook's injury from having missed practice yesterday, and one of the Twitter doctors was tweeting about how he didn't like how the injury looked. Then as soon as I went to Twitter, I saw he's practicing. So much ado about nothing.
That's the Twitter doctors, right? I don't know what to say about that other than, I think the thing you can gain from it more than anything when you saw yesterday was the fact, Mike, that he finished the game last week.
Yeah.
That matters to me a lot. He finished the game and he spoke at the podium. He was even asked about it a little bit, and now it's always a chance you get into you unwrap your foot. He had it taped up. There's some swelling or there's some soreness. Totally, that can happen. But the fact that it appeared his injury happened very early in the game, and that he finished the game was an encouraging sign. But you never know. So we advance on to today, and as you guys know, we are only able to watch a very limited portion of practice, like stretching and individual drills. He was out there for stretching, and I watched him. He was doing running back drills, so that's a good sign. I saw him going over bags and cutting, so hopefully everything's on track for him to play on Sunday.
Yeah, I've just seen in the few minutes between last segment and the start of this segment with you, a clip from a Kay Adams show where and guys take this for what it's worth, but Cook is on that show saying like I'll be fine for Sunday. Like, guys often say that, and it's not always it's not official or anything, but it feels very much like it's trending towards him playing.
It feels like yesterday was let's just back off for a day here, and make sure he gets right and he feels right type of day. I mean, he's carried quite a bit of load here, and including last week, and he's a big part of their offense. I mean, just look at right now what they're doing compared to last year and not doing with other running backs in the roster. I mean, this guy is it, right? He's the guy. He has become the bell cow. That's really has, which is really interesting. The way that they've approached this position, where it's kind of way different than in years past. That said, guys, I mean, I'm sure that the rushing title would be very important to him, and missing a game would suck. Not that it's about individual accolades, but let's also remember he's from South Florida. He grew up there, and it's probably an important game for him to want to play against the Miami Dolphins down there.
Well, look, I mean, this doesn't exactly – it's not a smoking gun here, but I have been worried about his usage, like him being overused. And, he got hurt at the beginning of the game, so it's not like, you can – but he still played 70% of the snaps in the Chief game after having suffered some degree of an injury early in the game. I get that his value being on the field, and that's a game you want to win, and I understand it all. I think it might speak to the failure of the other running backs to come through, that they had to lean on him that much after having already suffered an injury in the game.
It could very well be. It's a really good question. I just had this exact same conversation with Andy Young, our buddy from Spectrum News. Him and I had this exact same conversation today about it, which is it because Cook is just so good you can't take him off the field? Or is it, look, we're not really feeling it and trusting him? Ray Davis has really not played much this year, and he's not getting the ball much. And when he's been out there, he hasn't done much, quite frankly. But he's not far removed from last year of really playing a big role. Ty Johnson, same thing. He's been a big part of this. Now, he did score a touchdown. He's been, let's see what it feels like. I have to go back and look at his snap counts. He's been getting a little bit more run. But it could very well be that. it could just be that he is so good, and yeah, even though he got banged up, I don't care. He's so good, and we're going to be fine, and we have a good offensive line, and he's not taking big shots, and his yards before contact are good, so we can still protect him here in this situation. It could be that as well, of why he stayed on the field and still became that guy despite, having that injury early on.
He has increased his value, and it's great that it at least happened after he got the contract. Because if this gap between he and Davis really it's just what I'm talking about. Johnson is going to have his role as the third down back, and they trust him blocking and all that. Really, it's that Davis, the gap between Davis and Cook, I think, has grown this year. Last year, I wouldn't say it was like a dead heat or anything. Cook was the better player, but it wasn't as wide a gap between the two. Davis just has not come through at all for them when given a chance. So they've had the lead on Cook.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking right now. Last year, basically, when he topped out, when he had his highest percentage, guys, he never played a game. Actually, week 1 against Arizona he did. After that, never played a game with over 59%. Never got to 60% snaps. This year, he's already played 2 games over 70%.
Right.
And one over 66. 3 games over 70%. 75 last week. So, yeah, I don't know what to make of it necessarily. I don't want to believe, but I think about this. I don't want to believe it's we paid him, we're playing him. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. I don't think the Bills would operate that way.
Me either. I think that would be really short-sighted.
Exactly. So I think he has done everything. And I'm going to go back to training camp. And when James talked to us about his contract before he signed it, when everything was going on, he said he had a goal to be on the field more on third down, be on the field more in general. So whatever he did to give the coaching staff that confidence in him, good for him. Because it's come to fruition for what he told us he wanted to do.
Is there a good working theory on Davis not playing more other than Cook just needing to play more himself? Because when Davis has played, it's 2.1 yards per carry. Like they're not getting anything out of it. Even in games where Cook did great, you think maybe it would just he would fall right in. But is there any working theory on him?
I would say no, I don't think so. But if you want to get to things like, is he not as effective as an inside zone runner, right? Something like that, what they like to run. He's not as effective in the style that they're using with James Cook specifically right now at the offensive line, but it's not really any different than last year. And I thought he was pretty effective last year at times, right? So I don't really know. I can't tell you there is, to be quite honest with you.
I really would have thought, I remember Cook talking like that, and to me, you know what that sounded like is like I want to work on my pass blocking and show this team that I can be reliable in that. And I don't know how many reps he would have had in this game Sunday, but I know there's one where he tried to pass block and got absolutely run over. And so what is happening, I think Johnson is still playing that role where the extra snaps for him are coming are Davis, I think. So I don't know. It's funny. I don't know if you were involved in this conversation or not, but earlier this season, this has been a subject really all year already. Davis, it's not like he's dropped off like at some point this season. It just hasn't happened yet this year. And earlier this season, the guys on the morning show were running through last year's games. And aside from the Jet game where Cook wasn't active, most of the times that Davis got like the most of his work were games they were way ahead.
Sure.
Right.
So
he hasn't truly been a real big integral part of like the offense. It's really been more of we're going to use you when we can get James out of the game.
Right.
Minnesota did an interesting thing last week with Detroit and Jahmyr Gibbs, simplifying it. Basically, they just blitzed every time he was on the field and forced the Lions to keep him in, which Campbell talked about later as like, we got that wrong.
We got to figure out a pivot, yeah.
I think Matt Collar said on his podcast that maybe they did that 15 times in the game and got 7 sacks out of it. And Gibbs had like a nothing day. Can't be that easy, but it seemed to be a working strategy there for the Vikings in an upset win. All right, Sal, to the injury report.
Can I just add this one thing to it, by the way, real quick?
Yes.
It is funny. I'm looking at the snap counts. Reggie Gilliam, I know he's a fullback, and I get it, but because of the style of offense and what they're running right now, 61%, this is for the season, 61% Cook. Ty Johnson, 27. Reggie Gilliam, 24. Reggie Gilliam's been on the field for a quarter of the Bills' offensive plays, and then it's Ray Davis at 12%.
And he also hasn't touched the ball yet this year.
That's right.
Gilliam.
Yeah.
Sal Capaccio on the Wester Hotline. Is Benford the name we're listening for tomorrow morning, maybe, with McDermott? Down limited DNP. Played 100% of the snaps, speaking of snap counts, last week, but something came up.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Not good today that he did not practice today. So after showing up at the injury report yesterday as limited, not knowing he'd be on the injury report, and then showing up as we talked about, could be a number of things. Looks like he did probably do something in practice because now he goes from limited to DNP today. So I think we're probably looking at Max Harrison getting his first NFL start on Sunday. A.J. Epinesa, still in concussion protocol, has not practiced this week at all. Shaq Thompson, still dealing with the hamstring, has not practiced this week at all. Sam Franklin, special teams ace and safety, was out today, but with an illness.
You know, with this news about Epinesa, and we'll see what comes of that, but that he's still in the protocol and hasn't taken any, right, he's not progressing through it.
No.
He's still at the, right, so the week's going to...
Not at least to the point to be on the field at all.
Right,
That's
so the week could run out on him. You know, we spent a lot of today and really all this week, Sal, talking about Brandon Beane and his job performance at the trade deadline. Landon Jackson is a third-round pick. They've lost Michael Hoyt. They might be down Epinesa. You know, athletically, I guess, looking at measurables even, I feel like Landon Jackson, could you ask him to try to do the things that Hoyt was being asked to do in this defense? Like, maybe that's too much on his plate. I don't know. But a third-round pick that has barely played, and now it's a position of need, is really going to shine a light on him, I think.
I agree. I don't think you can ask him to do that. He is more of a edge-setting defensive end is really what he is. I don't think you could really ask him to play that role, to play off the ball, to move inside, stand up. And that also, by the way, it's not just what really the Bills, they lost in Michael Hoyt, which we all saw on the field. I mean, he was just a guy that could do so many things so well athletically. They also really lost a lot of the IQ that he brought to the table. I mean, he's an Ivy Leaguer, went to Brown, and he would set the defensive front on passing plays a lot of times. Watch him before the plays. He was pointing out. He was showing what's going on. Like, that was his role. To me, like, that you don't have to have the person who replaces Michael Hoyt to do that, right? You could have other people do that.
Yeah.
I get it. But I just think to throw Landon Jackson into there when he's been inactive, to me, Landon Jackson needs to be, hey, go out there, set the edge for us, and maybe get after the passer a couple times a game. That would really be a big benefit to allow other people to do those things.
Yeah, maybe he's purely an Epinesa replacement if Epinesa doesn't play, and Javon Solomon plays that, like that interior role, because he has been doing that in the absence of Hoyt, right?
That's right, Javon Solomon. And as you guys brought up the other day about, Dorian Williams being on the roster and a guy that might be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
He's a little bit different, Dorian Williams, because he is an off-ball linebacker. Javon is used to playing down on the line of scrimmage, so he can get a little closer. He understands how that game is particularly played right there. But Dorian Williams has been used as a spy quite a bit in his NFL career. So I think you'd be comfortable if Dorian Williams has to be that guy there in the middle. But probably Javon is the guy immediately that goes to more of the Hoyt role.
Some guys have been trending up. Does Josh Palmer play this week?
Good question. I think it's looking good for him. The fact that you know what actually tells me more about Josh Palmer isn't this week. It's he actually practiced last week a little bit.
Right.
Like, he's been on the field for over a week now. So to me, that's a really good sign. He started practicing last week, so you add that in with 2 limited days over the last couple of days, and I think that's looking a lot better for him. And then Joey Bosa with the wrist injury. Yesterday he was a DNP. He did have his wrist either taped up, cast. So his wrist was covered today, so you could see that. But he was practicing. He was out there, which is good news, obviously.
Okay, that's all I got. One more. Actually, I just thought of it. We talked about this for a minute earlier. Tonight's game.
Yeah.
What's better, the Raiders upset to close the gap for the Chiefs, or a Denver win so that Kansas City is closer to buried?
Mike, do you realize that right here in front of me, I have a sheet of paper that it says, if Mike asks you, do you have any questions for us?
This is it?
That was the question.
Oh.
Who do we want to win
What's better
tonight?
for the Bills tonight?
Yeah.
It's a good question because I was actually going to throw it out on social too to see what Bills fans said. So my first inclination is to go, well, listen, you're kind of with the Broncos here. You don't, you want to keep pushing these teams down, and the Bills have an opportunity. Then I thought, well, let me go look at the Broncos' schedule. They have the Chiefs still twice. I can't imagine they're going to beat them twice. They probably lose next week, actually. The Chiefs are coming off a bye. So I think that them winning tonight is fine. I think the Broncos winning tonight is fine because I think they'll probably split with the Chiefs, and you're going to get a loss there anyway. I don't know. I think that's the way I would want to look at it here because they still have the Commanders, the Raiders, the Packers, the Jags, and then the Chargers at the end. There's some winnable games here for them, but I think that's where I land right now, which is, you know what? Maybe let them win tonight. But if they lose, I don't think you're upset if you're a Bills fan, to be honest with you.
You're going to be happy either way. One of those games. Happy
I guess
either way.
so. I guess so, yeah. Unless you have money on it and, you're betting one team or the other.
And you don't get that Trey Tucker anytime touchdown. Otherwise, you're going to have a great night.
Right.
Okay.
Or the Adam Troutman.
Oh, well, how about, wait, I heard today on NFL Live, here's for your prop bets and things like that. Maybe Joe said something like this. Apparently, the Broncos are terrible at defending tight ends, and tonight they face Brock Bowers.
Good. Oh, I feel like my life depends on
Mike
Brock
has a
Bowers.
lot of interest in Brock Bowers, yeah.
It really is how it feels. I'm glad it's not literally
We didn't
true.
get to this earlier, but Mercedes Lewis, I just saw half an hour ago, has been brought up from the practice squad for Denver. So if you like a depth tight end, that's sort of our little niche here in the gambling on the Thursday night games.
Yeah.
He's 12-1 for a touchdown.
And he becomes the oldest non-kicker in the league once he steps on the field tonight, I think, Lewis. 41. All right, well, too bad you can't bet on that because it's known information. Nice to be able to just bet on something you know.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Sal. Talk to you
got it,
tomorrow.
guys.
There you go. That's Sal Capaccio on the West Her Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
I'm right with the room here on Denver, but if they dominate tonight, we're talking about them tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
At least a little bit. We might be anyway, but
I don't.
8-2?
The room, right with the room wanting them to win. I think I still want the Raiders. I'm not sure I want to ride with Sal on
I
that.
just mean like fine either way almost.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Is how I feel the way he was talking.
Yeah.
But if they look great, they don't have Surtain. The Raiders can make you look great. The Raiders made the Chiefs look great.
Yeah.
And then we all went, oh, Kansas City's all the way back, and they came here and couldn't block. So that's the NFL. 803-0550. What do you think? Raiders at Broncos. Denver about a 9-point favorite. The Sabres host St. Louis tonight. Pregame at 6 with Paul Hamilton. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
Some changes from yesterday on the Bills' official injury report. Joey Bosa, James Cook, Taron Johnson, and Daquan Jones all returned to practice today. They were all limited. Terrell Bernard goes from limited to full, while Christian Benford goes the other way, limited to not practicing today. Also not participating, A.J. Epinesa, Shaq Thompson, and Sam Franklin. Franklin, though, is dealing with an illness. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. While for Miami, two to keep an eye on, Chop Robinson and Rasul Douglas, again not practicing. And for more on practice today, Sal Capaccio has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Week 10 is going to get underway tonight with Thursday Night Football. Denver hosts the Las Vegas Raiders. Kickoff at 8:15. It'll be over on Amazon Prime, but you can also listen to the game over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. Coverage starts at 7:30. Because over here on WGR, we have Sabres game night. Pre-game in about a half hour at 6, a 7 p.m. puck drop. Sabres do host St. Louis. Tyson Kozak expected to be back in the lineup tonight, and all signs are pointing to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen getting the start in net. While one big note in the lineup for St. Louis, it does appear forward Jordan Kyrou is going to be a healthy scratch. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Ready to take your game day to the next level? Enter online at WGR550.com for a chance to win a $300 tailgate tray certificate from Alibaba Kebab to feed 12 football fans. Each Friday, a winner will be announced during our show. Football Friday, you may have heard of it. Fire up your taste buds at any of their 3 locations. Oh, Football Friday's tomorrow?
Yes,
Can't wait.
Yes, it is. Sadly, we're just here in studio. Off of last Friday's successful debut of being out. I think the next Friday we're out again.
Tomorrow night, you and I are out.
That's right. Happy birthday, teammate.
That's right. Tomorrow is my birthday.
Yeah.
I brought a card in today. Just a funny card. Wilt Chamberlain. 1972.
You showed that to me and walked out of the room, and what did I say to you when you walked back in? Like, did they not have the licensing agreement? Why is his name on the front of the jersey? I did not know that ever happened in basketball. There it is on the camera for everybody out there, folks.
I don't know that they wore these, but I seem to remember seeing a Jerry West one from the same years.
Okay, that rings a bell.
With West on the front?
Yes.
Not an all-star jersey,
right,
by the way.
I might have thought that's what that was when I saw it, because that rings a bell to me.
Did Chamberlain ever wear a jersey with Chamberlain on the front? And if he did, wouldn't the whole team have done that? That would have been funny if it was just him.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But this jersey has his name on the front. If it's even a real jersey, it could just be photoshopped maybe. Looks like he's really wearing it. What a fun player.
Did they have Photoshop back in 1971 or whenever that
card
is from?
Well, they had, it wasn't called that, but they painted, remember the baseball cards where guys had been traded?
Yeah.
And they painted the new team's hat on the guy's head?
Right.
Some of those were really bad. But, with the times.
What was the impetus to bring specifically the Wilt card in today?
I was
came across it? And...
I was just at my bar, and I've got a lot of cards piled up there right now, and this was on the top of one pile. I'm just going to take that to work.
All right.
Wilt Chamberlain, walk around with it. What a fun player. I mean...
I'm going to bring in a guitar tomorrow.
At the time of this card, he was the all-time leader in points and rebounds.
It's been a while. I used to bring... I was a little more active in some years where I would be going to like a rehearsal for something right from here and want to leave my guitar out in the cold car all afternoon, and I'd bring it in, but I haven't done that in a while now.
Well, it's time.
Just not as busy. It's a lot more just playing in my living room or in the attic.
All right. Here's Justin with us. Hello.
Yeah, hey, guys. I just really wanted to say that, when it came to Brandon Beane, I felt like, he procrastinated before the exam and then he failed it. And I don't understand, if it wasn't noticeable before the Patriots game, it was certainly noticeable after it. And it was completely noticeable during the Atlanta game that we needed some help at wide receiver. So if the wide receiver was in the play, or that's what he's trying to do, I would have been like, if I was him, he should have known that a while ago. And sometimes I feel like he was a little slow on the draw. And, there's nothing in the rule book that says you have to wait till the end of the trade period or the deadline to make a play. And for me personally, I would have gone Godfather. If I knew I needed a wide receiver, I would have made them an offer they can't refuse. Horse head in the bed. We need this guy. And I would have put the pressure on the other team because I know the counter argument is, every team's going to want to see what they get. Well, sometimes you got to sweeten the pot to try to get it early. And I think us fans, we saw it from the beginning. And I don't know, what the deal is, but I think the evaluation process was slow on the need. And finally, I'll say if there's any positive situation that comes out of this, is that if he was looking for wide receiver now, he better be on the wide receiver train come round one of the draft if we don't get somebody in the offseason. That's all I got to say about that. But anyway, I just want to hear your thoughts. So thanks for taking my call.
I think, look, I think this is where one of the things he talked about yesterday, I think, comes into play and is true. Like, sure, it's easy to say, I would have made an offer they couldn't refuse. Like, what, you're going to call Jacksonville because you want Brian Thomas Jr. or New Orleans in week 5 or week 4. And like, I'm going to give you what? Like, what's an offer they can't refuse? Is that 2 number ones? I mean, there's got to be a ceiling on that to me. And it would make sense for a team, if they were interested at all in moving a player of that caliber, to wait to see what the market would bear. And, so yes, could you blow somebody out of the water to the point where they go like, well, we're not going to do better than that on November 5th. Let's just do it. Sure, conceivably, or November 4th, sorry.
Teams don't make trades in week 5 because their seasons aren't over yet.
Right, and they're waiting to see, there's that part of it, and there's the also, let me get everybody involved here and see how I can do. So you're at the risk of paying double to do what you're saying, and I would not advocate for that. That said, I think he did go right to the wire and ended up not getting a deal home, and I don't know how close or not close they were to having that actually happen. But I give him some benefit of the doubt on not making a deal sooner. I think it's a lot harder and you pay a lot more to make a deal sooner. And sure, you'd have the player. And if that's all you care about and you don't, you're like team F them picks, knock yourself out. But I don't know. I would not advocate paying a lot more than I have to.
Some people just make it all sound so easy and so obvious, and it ends up turning my position, even just listening to how obvious and easy it all is. Oh, of course. I mean, who knows? Brian Thomas Jr. was a great rookie. They have a new coach. They're trying to make that work. At least they were a month ago. I mean, I doubt. Some people just make it all sound so easy. You can make that trade once, maybe. You don't have so many assets where you can just take 2 or 3 shots at it. People talk about the Rams, and as you pointed out the other day, they didn't have to trade for Beckham. They just added him. They traded for Von Miller, but they just added Beckham. You can make that trade, if you can make it at all, one time. And so many things, almost every scenario, is you'll regret it. The one where you won't is if you win the Super Bowl. Otherwise, you're going to regret it. Guys get hurt. Other guys are blocked. You make that trade, that imaginary trade. You do that. You're done with Coleman. Like, you're burying him. You're completely out. Middle of his second year, you're out.
Maybe you're even sending him away in the trade.
Maybe. So there goes that pick. In that one move before you've played one game, there goes that pick. He's not going to matter anymore. And you can't do a second thing, right? Like, you want to – they made the Diggs trade and got the future second. So if it was this year, the 25 draft, they got the second-round pick for Diggs, even it was before the 24 season. Oh, well, how is that going to help you win a Super Bowl? And they didn't win the Super Bowl. But what it gives you is more to work with going forward. even conceivably at last season's trade deadline, and they did end up trading their third. We are just making the same points every single day about the same thing, and I just we gotta get going here. we gotta move on. We just got to get to Sunday or get to January or something, because it's just so played out now. We know they didn't make. We know they didn't make the trade. Maybe they could have. Sounds like they wanted to. Didn't. Happens. Should we just quit? Should we just not watch games? I mean, you're not saying that, but I'm so tired of it. I'm just so completely bored with the 10 points everybody makes the same way at every turn about what they obviously should have done. This guy even said they didn't try hard enough, right? Like their staff or something to that effect.
Well,
they didn't try hard enough.
waited too long.
They waited too long.
Right. Yeah.
You think that's right?
No, I definitely don't think that's right. I believe they would have been grinding on this hard. I really do.
Sure.
I don't. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? That should be plainly obvious. So I already said it. I would defend them waiting until Tuesday to do it, because that's just when that the store's not open necessarily before Tuesday. Tuesday is the day that it's open, so that's the day you can shop. That's not to say you wouldn't be setting things in motion. I doubt, like, any guy that he had a conversation about with a team was not the first conversation he had with that team about that player. I mean, I would bet everything in my bank account on that, because they always, you hear plenty of times, like very rarely has it ever been a story where a GM in any sport tells you, yeah, actually, we had never really even met before, but then the GM of the Phillies called and said he wanted my guy, and I said, okay, sure. It's always like, oh yeah, we talked at the winter meetings about it. Just like there's always this groundwork that is being laid and these relationships that are built up. So it's just not something. It culminates on Tuesday again when the store is open, but you're window shopping for months probably.
Yeah. Good thing we do bring cards and guitars in sometimes, just to break it up.
No, I'll play some songs for you tomorrow. I mean, I will bring.
just to break it up.
I'll prove to you I know how to play "Story of My Life" by Social Distortion.
Okay, well, maybe you should.
No amplifiers. I mean, just acoustic. But yeah, you'll get the theme of it. You get the feel of it.
I'm even thinking about coming in, so you should.
All right, good. It's nice to know that you plan on being at work tomorrow.
Yes, I do. Sabres and Blues pregame at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life.
Fan, I met you at a hardware store once. I'm not sure if you'll remember.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick question. I know you play a lot of fantasy. Do I start RJ Harvey tonight over DeAndre Swift, who it sounds like he is coming back from an injury? And so maybe that's enough. But, man, his backup, Kyle Monangai, am I still on? Kyle Monangai had a huge game for the Bears in Cincinnati. What would you do? Would you run Harvey out there tonight, or would you go with Swift? Even with Monangai, still maybe does he start to maybe work his way into like some kind of a rotation? Do you see that happening, or do you think
Swift
Denver?
Swift has got a Monangai problem. I think is what you've got there, and I am a big RJ Harvey guy.
You are.
As for listeners who were listening an hour ago during
The Line.
Thank you. The Line, sponsored by my friends at FanDuel. I've never met any of them, but I'm on him for an anytime touchdown. So yeah, I would play Harvey. He's on a heater. He's money.
I do like to have one guy on Thursday night. Some unexpected injury happens. Maybe your league doesn't allow changes.
And that would be your
Sunday
only.
Morning.
You don't have anyone else going on. You got Bob. Well,
I've got a lot going. You want a list?
Of course you do.
I've got lots of Bowers, some Harvey, some Will Lutz, a little bit of Nix, a little bit of Genty. Not a lot of Genty, a little bit.
That's probably been good so far this year. Mostly that you don't have too much Genty, right?
I guess. He was late first, early second, 1-2 turn. But a lot of those guys have really bombed. I mean,
Travion Henderson.
Well, that's a little later.
Right.
But Nico Collins, Brian Thomas.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about rookie running back specifically. When you
draft?
said a lot of those guys have bombed. You're talking about the draft position, which, of course, I would have no idea about.
You drafted Brian Thomas Jr. You drafted all the juniors.
I have a team full of juniors. We didn't draft Fannin Jr., but we got him quickly because Kittle got hurt in week 1, and he seemed like a good idea. So yeah, we've got 3 juniors on our team: Marvin Harrison Jr., Brian Thomas Jr., and Harold Fannin Jr. The 2 receiver juniors are 2 of the biggest disappointments in fantasy football this season.
Harrison had a good game Monday, and maybe with Brissett, it's all different. Maybe.
It's kind of incredible that he had that game on Monday, and it's 6 catches, and that's the best game he's had yet.
I know.
He was the 4th overall pick as a receiver, and that's kind of incredible.
This is his second year.
Yeah.
Didn't they say Didn't they have a graphic on the first drive that he had 3 targets on the first drive, which was a career high?
Yes. They also had that. That also happened. Yes.
I would be losing my mind if we were the Cardinals. That's very Sammy Watkins reminiscent.
Yeah.
Just, why did you do this then? No targets. Why did you do this? What was the point? Why would you do this? That's what the old Bills would have made this trade all the fans wanted from 2 days ago and then just not thrown him the ball.
Right.
Like, why did we do this? Sabres and Blues meeting tonight for the 3rd time ever. I can't say these teams have never met because I remember 2 games where they did play. One was the Malarchuk game. I was at that.
Okay.
When he got cut.
Yeah.
What other Malarchuk game would there be? But I was at that, very close to him when that happened, down in the upper golds, I think, in the corner to his right.
I am not exaggerating. My stomach starts to turn just when you say it. Really. Like, maybe I was already nauseous and didn't know it. I don't know, but like I just feel.
The game was dead after that. 2-1, the Blues, I think, won the game.
Awful.
It was just the game was.
Awful.
It was the first period, and the game was just dead after that. And then Lindy's first game as Sabres coach was in St. Louis.
Okay.
At I think what was then called the Kiel Center, and they play there still. They play in the same building.
Yeah, they still do. Yeah, I don't. It's probably had 6 different names since then.
Maybe
most arenas have.
Their building and ours are like same age, pretty much, and they look alike. I've been to this building in St. Louis. I remember when I went there, hearing that it was like the same blueprints as ours.
Yeah.
So
that tracks.
The teams look alike, even
The blue and as a kid, the colors looked very similar to me.
Very similar.
I mean, they still are. I mean, although the Sabres will be wearing black tonight. So
good logo, great logo. The Blues.
I like the original Blues gear. Yeah,
the 8th note
a lot. Yeah, I think it's really good. Yeah, all of it. They've had some the Gretzky era jersey with the diagonal red, tough one.
Pass.
But mostly their stuff, like when they do a throwback for like a outdoor game or like some big that like they have like a baby bluish uniform that is mint. I really like that a lot.
What they wore when they came into the league.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, very cool.
Like Barclay Plager.
Blues and Sabres tonight. Paul Hamilton along with the start of our pregame show after the update. This is WGR.
803-0550 is the number. Let's squeeze Luke in here in this first segment. Hi, Luke. Thanks for calling. You're on WGR.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Just wanted to kind of get your opinion on Ryan Reeves. He's on waivers. Maybe we bring him in. He's 2 hours away. Sell some tickets. Elevate the team a little bit. What do you think?
I think that's one of the worst ideas I've ever heard. Thank you for calling.